I
Thank you very much, everyone. It's a great honor to be with the President of South Africa, President Ramaphosa. And he is a man who is certainly in some circles really respected, other circles a little bit less respected, like all of us, in all fairness, like all of us.
We all like that.
We also have a few of my friends. Ernie Els, a great golfer. He's a truly great golfer. Retief Goosen, who's another really, we call him really a great golfer too, Ernie, right? You two guys are fantastic. And we could add Gary to the group.
And the rambling
What
begins.
a group of golfers South Africa's had.
Yes, yes.
There must be something in the water, right? It's
Yes.
something good. These two guys are.
Yes, the water said.
Yeah, Gary's Gary. And David Frost, also another one that I
Yes.
know is such a great one.
Indeed.
Was he as good a putter as they say, David? He's a putter. He's a putting machine, right?
Absolutely.
But he's another one. So something very good about South Africa in golf, and golf is still doing great in South Africa. And they have young players, I hear, coming up that are going to be very good. But it's an honor to have you here, and, my friend. It's an honor to have you, one of the greatest businessmen in South Africa and long beyond. Thank you for being here. It's a very, very great honor. Appreciate it. So we're going to be discussing certain things. As you know, we have
Genocide,
G20
apparently.
is going to South Africa. When is that going to be?
In November,
In November?
and thereafter, I hand over to you. And
Yes, we have it next.
you originated the G20, so I'll hand over the baton to you,
Right.
and then you lead the G20
We're
in
going
the
to have
world.
it. We're going to have it the following
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
So we'll be discussing many things, and some of the things you've been reading about in the papers and
Yes.
the media. And I would say that, look, the president is a truly respected man in many, many circles, and in some circles he's considered a little controversial. But
Why did
we're
he
gonna be
repeat that?
discussing some of the things that are
Controversial.
taking place in South Africa and see if we can help. And we want to help. And we've had a long relationship with South Africa.
Oh, boy.
I have, because indirectly I have so many friends that live there. I have a lot of friends. I mean, these are famous guys, but I have a lot of friends that live there that are tremendous people. And we'll be discussing that. We'll have a nice conversation. And I really appreciate that you guys came along. It really helps us in our thought process. But it is a great honor to have you, and I appreciate you.
What a long,
I don't
long
know where he got my
intro
number, but I picked
that
up. He said, I want to come over and see you. And, that was my honor, and thank you very much for being here.
You're most welcome. Well, thank you very much for welcoming us to this reformed White House. I've been here before, and it looks really fantastic. I must congratulate you.
Thank you.
But I also thank you for allowing our delegation.
is that going to be a
This is
thing
very
now?
mixed
All of his
delegation that
meetings
we've
in the White House are going to be a mess now.
Prime ministers.
Is that going to be like
Someone from the trade union movement, who we really collaborate with, and from business as well, and our sporting legends. When I spoke to you, you said, yes, come along and bring Gary Player, bring Ernie Els and Retief Goosen. I brought the two of them. Gary
what
Player,
happened to Gary?
I spoke to him, and he said, look, I'm getting rather on in my years, but wishes us luck in this discussion with you. So it's a real joy, and I'd also like to thank you for allowing your people to start discussions with us at the trade level. We are essentially here to reset the relationship between the United States and South Africa.
the Great Reset?
Long-standing partners in many, many ways. We've collaborated in many fields, in space issues, in energy, and in trade, and we therefore need to reset that, particularly in the light of some of the announcements that you made on trade and investment. So we
Tariffs?
want to advance more trade between the two of us, our two countries, and our people now have been empowered by yourself.
What was the
and
tariff
yourself
on
to start
on South
engaging.
Africa
And
again?
we hope that we will be able to fuel that engagement during our talks. And we also want to discuss issues that have to do with how we promote further investments in both countries. We've got about 22 companies.
Well, so far
from
this is
South Africa that
bog
have
standard
invested in the
conversation.
US.
Very
That's
standard
creating
so
a
far.
number of jobs.
At least from
And
the
similarly, you've got almost
South
600
African side.
companies that have invested in South Africa, and some of them have been in South Africa for more
That
than
needs to
100
change.
years.
That's true.
So
That
our
needs to
links
change
are-
soon. Don't worry, it
really
will.
good, and we would like to recalibrate those relations between our two countries and discuss a whole range of issues, geopolitical, the work that you're doing to bring peace around the world, in
Bringing-
Ukraine and in the Middle East. So we
Yeah,
value
Trump
that,
sure
and
is bringing
we
peace
are
to
also a great
Ukraine.
contributor to peace processes that are going on around the world.
Yeah,
And of course,
what
we
a
want to discuss
peacemaker.
how we can support each other. You are a much bigger economy than we are. We're just a tiny economy, but we rely on each other on a number of issues. We've got critical minerals that you want to fuel the growth of your own economy and reindustrialize.
Interesting.
So we have that on offer, including rare earth minerals.
Interesting
All
that.
combination.
Yeah, interesting that
opportunity and
raw
the products
earth,
that
rare
we buy
earth
from
is
you,
being brought up.
as well as what we sell
Interesting.
to you, I believe makes up a really
Someone has
good
been
and
observing the
powerful
Ukrainian
relationship,
mineral deal.
which we need to strengthen, which we need to engender, and that is really what has brought us here. And we are really privileged to have, great South Africans in the mix. As you said, you'd like to see them as well. And I brought you a really fantastic golf book, 14 kilograms. And
Really?
it showcases the golf courses in our country. Johan Rupert wrote preface, so did Annie else. And I want to showcase our golf
Listen, he accepted the Qatar plane recently, and now he has accepted the 14 kilogram. Did he actually say 14 kilogram?
So did Annie else. And it showcases, weighs 14 kilograms.
Yes,
you know?
the 14 kilogram
And it
book about
showcases
golfing.
The golf courses in our country.
Beautiful.
Johan Rupert wrote preface, so did Annie else. And I want to showcase our golf courses. You might remember when I spoke
Trump don't
to you,
read. I mean, the guy did just say that the book showcases mainly pictures of golf courses, so there's no, he doesn't need to read. He should just just look at the pictures in the 14 kilogram book about golf.
spoke about golf, you said I should start practicing.
What the
And I've
hell?
started practicing, President, so I'm ready. But let me end just the introductory remarks by thanking you. You may
Will
not-
Trump be able to lift the book? It's 14 kilograms. Trump is Trump is an elderly gentleman. Will he be able to use? Oh my God!
5 years ago, I spoke to you during the COVID period.
Right.
And it was at a time when the whole world was going through a really cathartic moment.
Right.
And we asked for assistance, and you were able to assist us with respirators.
Did they actually say reciprocity?
And, you kept your word. And you delivered respirators to us. We didn't have as many in our country, and it really helped
Reciprocity.
to help us deal with COVID. So I'm here also to say thank you and to thank the people of America for having helped us during a really difficult time. Being the small economy that we are, we needed help from around the world. And you were there to provide that. So thank you very
I
much.
remember the
for
call.
that. Yeah.
We
thank
sent
you.
150 respirators. We became the respirator king. We started making them. Nobody had them. We had very few of them.
That's right.
But they were very helpful. But we sent 150,
Yeah.
and I appreciated the letter you wrote me a letter.
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that very much.
Thank you very much for that. It really touched my heart after I spoke to you and you delivered. So,
Great honor.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
It's a great honor. We've helped you with respirators. Now, can you please tell me about the genocide in South Africa? Explain yourself, President of South Africa. How can you let poor white folk die on your soil? I'm gonna bring out this evidence. My friend that's fled South Africa told me all about it. Hello, Jordan.
Mr. President, you welcome white Afrikaner refugees here. Can you explain to Americans why it's appropriate to welcome white Afrikaners here when other refugees like Afghans, Venezuelans, Haitians have all had their protected status revoked?
Well, this is a group, NBC, that is truly fake news. They ask a lot of questions in a very pointed way. They're not questions, they're statements. We've had tremendous complaints about Africa, about other countries too, from people. They say there's a lot of bad things going on in Africa, and that's what we're going to be discussing today. When you say we don't take others, all you have to do is take a look at the southern border. We let 21 million people come through our border, totally unchecked, totally unvetted. They came from all over the world. In many cases, they're criminals. They come from prisons. They come from mental institutions. They come from street gangs. They're drug dealers.
Yeah, that's all immigration is, okay? Mental asylum criminals that want to change their sex in America.
So don't say that we didn't take them. We're trying to get them out as fast as we can. And we're doing record business on that. And we just won a big case where we're allowed to send back hundreds of criminals to Venezuela. Just won that today in the Supreme Court. I'm happy to hear. But we do have a lot of people are very concerned with regard to South Africa. And that's really the purpose of the meeting, and we'll see how that turns out.
But we have the genocide.
People that feel they're being persecuted, and they're coming to the United States. So we take from many locations if we feel there's persecution or genocide going on.
Oh my God!
And, we had a lot of people. I must tell you, Mr. President, we have had a tremendous number of people, especially since.
How many Palestinians have you accepted?
Generally, they're white farmers, and they're fleeing South Africa, and it's a very sad thing to see. But I hope we can have an explanation of that, because I know you don't want that.
Genocide.
And, it's a kind of a different meeting. Normally we have meetings.
What about the fact that the United States government sent out a letter to Ukrainian refugees that they have to leave?
We talk about trade, and we'll be talking about trade and other things. But that certainly will be a subject that comes up. Yeah. Please.
Wait, is that Elon Musk in the audience? Is that Elon Musk standing here?
Thoughts on Letitia James, Director Polte.
Hold on, is it? Or am I mistaken? A white Afrikaner? Or is it just someone that looks similar? Am I wrong or am I correct? Is that our main token South African victim of oppression?
Yes, please. Brian?
Thank you very much. I'd like to get your thoughts on Letitia James, Director Polte. According to him, Letitia James says that the alleged mortgage fraud was simply a mistake. I want to get your thoughts on that. She put down that her father was her husband in order, and this is very similar to, I guess, the false account.
Well, I don't know what it is currently, but Letitia James, who's the Attorney General of New York State, it seemed, I'm not involved in that at all. I know that it's being handled by just various groups, I guess, but it's major fraud, mortgage documents, and fraudulent everything. I think she said the father was her husband.
Fraudulent everything.
She had a husband, so she chose her father. And she put it down, and she had didn't she sign in Virginia, yet she said she lived in Virginia, yet she's the New York State Attorney General, and she did that for tax reasons.
We're going to watch this a little bit. We're going to watch this till the allegations of genocide up here, okay? I'll be right back. I'm going to the toilet now. I'm starting my journey to the toilet. In the meantime, you can write me in the chat if you want me to continue watching this. I can watch this tomorrow, or do you want me to start up Helldivers, which Helldivers has actually updated completely now. That's a thing. This. Okay, I'll be back. Be back. All right. Oh, wait, hold on. I need a drink. Send you my friend code once you're in. Yeah, but I have to do a thing. Hold on, Mr. Booby Boy.
Hold on, what you doing this, Marjane? Who did you shoot?
All right. Let us. Whoa. Mr. Twister, Tornister. Ouch. My back is blown off.
So she could take advantage of taxes, and she had the wrong number of units. She had a much different number, which wouldn't have allowed her to qualify and scam the government. So I don't know. I think she's very bad for New York, but I
don't know about that
it,
case.
I appreciate the question.
I don't know anything about that.
There's no genocide.
Oh,
Thank you, Mr. President.
genocide.
So
Okay, genocide. Let's go. My main topic of expertise. I'm a genocide expert. I have a big fat book on genocide. I have actually a few fat books on genocide. So, let me hear the accusations and let me make my determination on the validity, the soundness of the accusations. Does Trump even know what genocide is? What the Genocide Convention is?
Which pretty much a lot of celebration will be taking place around the world, including here in the United States. What is your message to the entire African continent, African people in this important occasion?
Well, I want to see peace, and I want to see happiness. I want to see health, and you have incredible land. There's tremendous value. A lot of countries don't have that value in the land. The value you have. We have a situation. I think you probably heard about it. We've done through some very talented people help settle a war that's been raging for years, Rwanda and the Congo, and I think we've done it. Believe it or not,
we'll
I think
see.
We've done it, and
we'll see.
Could you just say a few words about that, my friend?
Yes. A couple of weeks ago, they signed, the two parties signed a declaration of principle in which they agreed on the way forward. And
we'll see how that will go.
Both submitted draft peace agreements, and we have put together one that incorporates both of their suggestions, and we've given it to them. So we're in the process of finalizing
Looking
this.
good, right?
Looking very good.
No, we have to thank you for even those efforts because the African continent, particularly SADC, our Southern African Development Community, has for years been seeking to foster peace in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So all efforts, including those from outside.
Unfortunately,
the
I do not know
inside the continent,
enough about this
are
to
really
comment.
what we
I have to
just-
read
we are
read up on
removing
Africa.
our troops
It's
from there so that peace can then prevail.
definitely
in that
something
whole
that I need
area.
to brush
And,
up on.
We hope that with the support of the international community, we will really have peace in that area. It's so vital and so important for the whole region.
Well, we sent our people there, and I think we did a very good job, as headed by my friend, and that was great. That was great. I mean, I'm just hearing phenomenal reports because all I'm hearing is death, and they're chopping heads off, and it's horrible over there. And it was really brave of you to go there, and I really appreciate it. And it looks like we have something very, very substantial. We also talked about trade with them in terms of rare earth and all, but really more for it's like if you take a look at what we just did with Pakistan and India, we settled that whole thing, and I think I settled it through trade. We're doing a big deal with India, we're doing a big deal with Pakistan, and I said, what are you guys doing? Somebody had to be the last one to shoot. But the shooting was getting worse and worse, bigger and bigger, deeper and deeper into the countries. And we spoke to them, and I hate to say we got it settled, and then 2 days later, something happens, and they say it's Trump's fault. But Pakistan has got some excellent people and some really good, great leader. And India is my friend, Modi. And he's a
Mutual friend?
Yeah, he's a great guy. And I called them both, and we just did something good. We're trying to settle Russia, Ukraine. We spoke with President Putin for 2.5 hours the day before yesterday. I think we made a lot of progress, but that's...
Yeah, a lot of progress. A lot of progress has been made with Ukraine. Sure. So much progress that Putin has refused a ceasefire. Yet again, so much progress, so much incredible progress. It's just this silly Ukraine. It's so stubborn. Everything is going so well. The Congo and Rwanda, India and Pakistan, it's also going so well. If only Ukraine would not be so stubborn, like Trump's record would have been perfect, wouldn't it? Amazing.
It's a bloodbath. 5,000 people are being killed a week. 5,000 soldiers a week, not including people in cities and towns that are also being killed. So we're trying
By
to help.
Russia.
And
You would
it
recall-
doesn't affect us. It's not our people. It's not our soldiers. It's Ukraine and it's Russia. But if we can save 5,000 souls, we'll do it. We're pretty good at it.
Yeah, like
But it's
I'm gonna save 5,000 souls by not pressuring the country that invades at all, by pressuring the country that is invaded, in fact, by refusing to sell anti-air systems to Ukraine. And I'm also going to save 5,000 souls by announcing that if no progress is made, I'm just gonna bail from the whole thing. Amazing. Art of the deal. What an artsy fartsy amazing way to...
It's a bad situation. That is a really bad situation.
Well, you'd recall when President Zelensky was coming to South Africa, that's when I spoke to you.
That's right.
We both agreed that we need to push the peace message so that there can really be peace. And we've been involved in the Ukraine-Russia conflict for quite a while. Through my Minister of State Security here, we've been dealing with them in the exchange of children.
Everybody wants peace. It's not a matter of peace, it's a matter of what sort of peace. I mean, okay, Russia does not even want peace, let's be honest. Russia is just stalling to be able to continue and gain more territory. But apart from that...
Names and addresses and all that. So we've been invested in that whole process as well.
Wow.
The moves that you're making are fully supported by us because we would like to see the end of that war.
It's true. I called Zelensky.
Bravo.
And they said, he's in South Africa. I said, what the hell is he doing in South Africa?
He was talking to us.
We got this. I said, what are you doing in South Africa?
Yes.
That's a strange one.
He's trying to make
Why is it?
We're taking him, you know, we were lucky because we had the great Nelson Mandela who taught us how to
No
create
comment.
peace, to make peace. So
No
we were
comment.
imparting some of those lessons to him, some of those learnings. And I specifically mentioned to him that this is how Nelson Mandela taught us that when you want to have a peace in a country, do it on an unconditional basis and sit down and talk. And that's precisely
Yeah, and so that's why Ukraine has agreed to an unconditional ceasefire, and then Russia just didn't. So what exactly is Ukraine supposed to do at that point? This is ridiculous. This is just glaringly ridiculous.
what I'm sure.
Where's Dr. Johns?
Well, we're going to see what happens with that one. It's there's a lot of hatred.
Yeah.
There's a lot of death. It's a bloodbath. It's a
It is.
bloodbath.
It is. Unfortunately.
I get the satellite pictures of that field, of that killing field. You never saw anything like it in your life. It's horrible. It's a horrible thing that goes on. But
Yeah, and yet we're just not gonna push for any significant concessions from Russia. We're just gonna allow Russia to stall forever, and we're gonna deprive Ukraine from any ability to defend its citizens. It's great. That's the way to end the killing. That's the way to, end this bloodbath. Brilliant, I guess.
I think we've made big progress. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President.
No, not you. Right here.
Not you.
South Africa. Go ahead, please.
What are you expecting on the ICJ case? Are you expecting South Africa to drop that? Is that what you're trying to
On which case?
The ICJ
The International
case is
Criminal Justice.
I don't expect anything, to be honest. I really don't. I don't know. It's they've got a case. There's a lot of anger there, tremendous anger. I don't expect anything. We'll see what happens. We'll have a ruling, and who knows what the ruling is going to mean. Yeah.
Yeah, depending on the ruling, maybe Trump will decide to sanction the organization, just like he did with the ICC. Remember? Because of the arrest warrant on Netanyahu.
Of Gaza. Mr. President, are you going to be speaking to Prime Minister Netanyahu about Israel's renewed offensive there? There's been a lot of concern from European countries. The Pope has expressed concern. Are you going to be asking Prime Minister Netanyahu to tone down the offensive in Gaza to let more aid in?
Was that a question or a statement? You never change.
What will it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for the President. It's for him.
I'd rather have him answer.
The President will respond to you.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here.
Like
When we
who?
have talks
Elon
between
Musk?
us on the quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But, Mr. President, I must say that we have, wait.
Wait.
We have thousands of stories talking about it.
Sure.
And we have documentaries, we have news stories, and that. Is Natalie here, somebody here to turn that? I could show you a couple of things, and I would.
I'm gonna look into this real
It has to be
hard.
responded to.
Yeah, sure,
We
we
have-
will.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would, and turn the lights down.
From
Turn
what
the lights
publications?
down, and just put this on, it's right behind you, Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are. Honorable, yes, honorable member.
Must never be scared to kill a revolution. Demand that at some point there must be killing because the killing is part of it. Shoot, Namasa, kill the poor, the farmer, poor, the farmer.
The mayor of DA in PE is a white man. So these people, when you want to hit them hard, go after a white man. They feel a terrible pain because you have touched a white man. Not because Mashama and Soli will not be touched. They will be touched. No one. But we are starting with this whiteness. We are cutting the placard. Shoot, Yamasa, the brewer, the farmer, the brewer, the farmer. Shoot, Yamasa, the brewer, the brewer, the farmer.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm saying to you, we have not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't guarantee the future. And you understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter, they freak out. It sounds like a genocidal.
I'm Aaron Gilchrist in Washington. You're watching an Oval Office meeting between President Trump and the President of South Africa visiting the White House today, Cyril Ramaphosa. And what we're seeing at this moment, it appears, is a video presentation that has been prepared by the White House, seemingly for this moment. Not typical that we would see a monitor pulled into the Oval Office in this way, and what appears to be an edited video that is a part of the conversation that had been happening around white South Africans and the accusations made by the president and others that there was genocide happening in South Africa as it relates to the white minority in that country. And this video seeming to offer some proof of that accusation. Let's listen to the president.
These are burial sites right here. Burial sites, over 1,000 of white farmers. And those cars are lined up to pay love on a Sunday morning. Each one of those white things you see is a cross, and there's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers. And those cars aren't driving, they're stopped there to pay respects to their family member who was killed.
You sure the video of the crosses has been debunked as AI generated? I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if it turned out that Trump once again believed some sort of like, I remember the tattoos thing? Yeah, I remember.
The road, you have crosses.
My God.
Those people were all killed.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President? No, I'd like to know where that is, because this I've never seen.
Okay,
It's in South Africa.
Let's see. Debunk Trump South Africa genocide accusation. Let's see if anybody wrote about this already. BBC, Is there a genocide of white South Africans as Trump claims? Trump's South Africa's genocide spin. Factcheck.org. Ooh, factcheck.org. Let's go. Let us go. Asked by a reporter why he was welcoming white South Africans to the US as refugees, President Donald Trump said there was a genocide that's taking place against white farmers. In the country, experts say the president is misapplying that term. Because they're being killed and we don't want to see people be killed, Trump also said at the May 12th press conference. There's a real issue with South African farmers being killed or violently attacked, experts told us, but most of the violent acts are committed during robberies in a country where most of the wealth and land post-apartheid is still owned by a relatively small white minority. Yes, white farmers are being killed in South Africa. Political scientist Jean-Ves Camus, co-director of the Observatory of Political Radicalism at the Jean Jaurès Foundation in Paris, told us via email. However, there is nothing like a white genocide, and the issue needs to be seen in the broader context of a country plagued by crime and gang activity. Okay, so that's bullshit, basically. It's basically bullshit. Although police statistics are imprecise on the issue, there have been about 50 farm murders per year over the last several years. That's less than 1% of all murders in the country. Murder victimization is far more correlated to class, gender, and location than race. Lizette Lancaster of the Institute for Security Studies in South Africa told us via email. Farm attacks, including murders, do occur in South Africa, and many are undeniably brutal. Anthony Kaziboni, a political and critical sociologist at the University of Johannesburg's Center for Social Development in Africa, told us via email. However, South Africa must be understood in its broader socio-economic and historical context. South Africa has extreme inequality, with approximately 10% of the population largely white, owning 80% of the wealth. It has also deeply violent past, and the country's structural violence persists today alongside physical violence, economic violence, and many other forms of violence. Violent crime affects all sectors of society, not just farmers. Trump's genocide claim. Definition of genocide. There we go. I'm actually gonna Google this. Trump, I'm gonna add the word debunk. Trump white crosses South Africa video. We're gonna see if it was debunked. Trump ambushes South African president with video. Fact check. Trump's false suggesting of a genocide. South Africa doesn't satisfy genocide definition. Under the United Nations definition, genocide requires acts such as murder and serious bodily or mental harm committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group as such. There's no evidence that South Africa, whose agriculture minister is white, has made or overseen any such effort. The claim of genocide against white South African farmers has been pushed for years by white nationalist groups. Trump, who has expedited the processing of white South Africans as refugees, even while keeping all other US refugees resettlement suspended. Wow, okay. Raised the notion of a genocide last week and repeated it during a contentious Wednesday meeting with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa in front of cameras at the White House. I mean, I guess the White House will just now become a place of trash-fire diplomatic meetings with leaders of different countries. I guess that's gonna be just a thing now. Trump said at one point Wednesday, "So we take refugees from many locations if we feel there's persecution or genocide going on. And we had a lot of people. I must tell you, Mr. President, we have had a tremendous number of people, especially since they've seen this. Generally, they're white farmers and they're fleeing South Africa." Trump wrongly identified these. Oh, okay. During the meeting, Trump brandished printouts of what he said were reports about white South Africans being killed. He also had Ramaphosa sit through a video montage that included a clip of a demonstration featuring white crosses symbolizing South African farmers who were killed. Trump wrongly identified these as burial sites, evoking the image of mass graves rather than symbols. And while Trump did tell a reporter that I haven't made up my mind about whether genocide is occurring, he didn't explain that murders of white farmers are a minuscule percentage of overall murders in South Africa. Robbery is seen as motive for many attacks on farmers. I assume not just white. Trump claimed to Ramaphosa, "You do allow them to take land, and then when they take the land, they will kill the white farmer." Trump was spinning fiction once more. No land has been seized under the new expropriation law as of mid-May, Bloomberg reported Tuesday, and Trump provided no evidence for his blanket assertion that white farmers are murdered after their land is taken. Okay. During the Wednesday meeting, Trump tried to bolster his case by making apparent reference to an expropriation law Ramaphosa signed this year in part to help remedy the racial inequality in land ownership that still plagues South Africa 3 decades after the end of apartheid. The new law has been attacked by Trump ally Elon Musk, who is from South Africa. Wow, what a shock. A 2017 report found that white people owned 72% of the country's farms and agricultural holdings by individual landowners. The law requires the government to provide just and equitable compensation in most cases to a landowner whose land is expropriated, but it also allows seizures without compensation in certain cases from owners of any race. When the seizure is deemed in the public interest and certain conditions are met, such as the land being abandoned, the land being unused because the owner's main purpose is to benefit from its appreciation, or the land having a market value the same or lower than government investments or subsidies in it. Subsidies. All right. So that's apparently completely unjustified. So these are not burial sites, these are symbolic crosses.
Okay.
So this is fabrication.
The Pentagon announced that it would be accepting a Qatari jet to be used as Air Force One.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You know, you to get out of here. What does this have to do with the Qatari jet? They're giving the United States Air Force a jet, okay? And it's a great thing. We're talking about a lot of other things.
Nice gift from Qatar.
Trying to get off the subject of what you just saw. You are a real, you're a terrible reporter. Number one, you don't have what it takes to be a reporter. You're not smart enough. But for you to go into a subject about a jet that was given to the United States Air Force, which
to
is
Trump,
a very nice thing.
not to the United States, to Trump.
$5.1 trillion worth of investment in addition to the jet. Go back, you ought to go back to your studio at NBC, because Brian Roberts and the people that run that place, they ought to be investigated. They are so terrible the way you run that network, and you're a disgrace.
Wow.
No more questions from you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, talk about that. His name is Peter something. He's a terrible, quiet.
That's my question now.
Let's go.
Thank you so much. President Trump, Alex Austin from ENCA in South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tim.
What would you like President Ramaphosa to do about the situation that we've just seen on the screen?
I don't know. Look, these are articles over the last few days.
From where?
The death of people. Death. Horrible death. I don't know. Anyone, white South Africans are fleeing because of the violence and racist laws.
Racist
And
laws.
this is all. I mean, I'll give these to you. So when you say, what would I like to do? I don't know what to do. Look at this. White South African couples say that they were attacked violently.
President Trump, when will you go and see for yourself if it isn't true?
Well, I could do that. Look, here's burial sites all over the place. These are
Burial
all white farmers
sites.
that are being buried. And he asks about a jet that was given. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You know, you are so bad. You're such a bad reporter. This is one after another. This family was wiped out. I'm just looking.
Can we get a responsible
reaction to those videos, Mr.
President Trump.
White genocide.
I think the videos are so. No. When you look at the videos, I mean, how does it get worse? And these are people that are officials, and they're saying that kill the white farmer and take their land. That's
He's
what it
allowed Ramaphosa
is. And I have other friends in South Africa. I have
Friends.
People that left.
I've got friends.
And one in particular that says you can't go there. He said they want to take your land, they take your land, and they kill you.
Is it Elon
It's
Musk?
okay, and they say it's okay to do. Now, we're going to talk about it, but this is a tremendous, look, this is a story recent. These are all people that recently got killed.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it can get any worse. These are,
Wow.
and you know, the men that you saw, the people that you saw in that movie, those are officials. Those are people that were in office. They had one march, they had a dance in your parliament, whatever you may call it, legislature.
Well, let me
and it was
clarify
terrible.
that.
Yeah.
Let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies.
Okay.
And in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament.
So there are lunatics in the government, just like in Poland.
Which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
Nobody can
Already
take
we
land.
saw a debunk of this.
They killed the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No, there is
Nothing happens to
There is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. And we have now...
The farmers are not black. I don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black. And the people that are being killed...
Okay, okay, fact checked. Let's fact check this, fact checked. Only white farmers killed South Africa. How long will it take me to check this? Fact check. Fact-checking Trump's claims of white farmer genocide. Let me check. Last hour. Get the facts. Trump confronts South African. Trump claimed his photo proved genocide. Let's see. Trump claimed his photo proved genocide of white South Africans, but there's one big problem. Okay, let's see what the problem is. Let us investigate the problem. I'm going to investigate the problem. During a contentious meeting with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa on Wednesday, President Donald Trump offered a barrage of videos and images and so-called proof of white genocide in South Africa. But at least one image Trump was referencing on Wednesday was not even from South Africa. Oh my God, this one, when he was talking about people being burned, I think. As Agents France Press first reported, an image Trump pointed to white citing violence against white farmers in South Africa was actually a depiction of femicide. The photo showed Red Cross workers carrying the body bags of women who'd been raped and burned alive in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Whoops. I mean, I guess according to Trump, it's all the same. The image which was featured on the site American Thinker was included in a larger blog post that raised concerns about South Africa's land expropriation law, though the photo is not related to that policy in any way. The picture, as the caption indicates, is a screen grab from a video posted by the Indian outlet WION, which utilized Reuters footage. Trump had pointed to the photo while riffling through multiple articles which he said were evidence of death and violence that white South Africans were eager to flee. Look, here's burial sites all over the place, he said, in reference to the photo. These are all white farmers that are being buried. Ramaphosa, meanwhile, has firmly dismissed Trump's genocide claims as part of a false narrative. South African officials have emphasized that there's scant evidence that white farmers have faced more violence than black farmers in the country, and Ramaphosa noted in February that no land has been confiscated from anyone as the result of a new 2024 law. The White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Just no comment, right?
Large numbers. And you saw all those grave sites, and those are people that loved ones going, I guess on a Sunday morning, they told me, to pay respect to their loved ones.
These are not
that were
graves.
killed. Their heads chopped off. They died violently. And, you know, I mean, we're here to talk about it.
Thank you.
And I didn't know we'd get involved here, but I will say this, that if the news wasn't fake, like NBC, which is fake news, totally, one of the worst, ABC, NBC,
My God.
CBS, horrible. But if they weren't fake news like this jerk that we have here, if we had real reporters, they'd be covering it. But the fake news in this country doesn't talk about that. They don't want to talk about it, but now they have to talk about it. But they won't.
Oh,
This
yeah.
won't even be a subject. They'll.
Oh no, this story definitely became a subject of ridicule of Trump's incompetence. Trump has been debunked on this on several different outlets. So you know what? It definitely did in fact become a topic.
Him talking about why did a country give a free think of this? Why did a country give an airplane to the United States Air Force? Okay.
To Trump, not to Air
me,
Force.
to the
Trump
United
decided
States
to
Air Force,
use it as his Air Force,
so they
but
could help us
it was
out
given to
because
Trump.
We need an Air Force One until that's Air Force One. It's being built, 2 of them being built. But Boeing's a little bit late, unfortunately. So why did they give us a plane to the United
Why
States
is
Air
he-
Force? That's what that idiot talks about.
Why is he babbling to the president of South Africa about this? His ego was so hurt by this.
After viewing a thing where thousands of people are dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish you did. I take it.
Wow.
If your country offered the United
Oof. Wow. That was so shameless. That was so blatant and shameless. I'm sorry I don't have a plane to give you. Oh, I wish you did.
States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay. But coming back to
That is so shameless. Well, if you did, then maybe things would be different.
this issue, which I really would like us to talk about, and talk about it very calmly. We were taught by Nelson Mandela that whenever there are problems, people need to sit down around a table and talk about them.
Well, there are
And this is
problems.
precisely what we would also like to talk about, including, of course, trade matters, investment matters. So the issues that concern you as the United States, and
Those are all deaths.
yeah, in many ways,
They're all deaths.
one should say you are a partner of South Africa, and you are raising concerns, and these are concerns that we are willing to talk to you about. Let me just add quickly, you know, the criminality that we are experiencing in our country needs quite a lot of technological capability. And in one of our areas in South Africa, we're using US technology, which is able to, in many ways, identify where shootings are happening and all that. And I'd like to talk about that because there is support that we can get from you as the United States to help us deal with all these acts of criminality. And that is what I believe partnership is all about. And we are here as a partner so that we can help each other whenever there are challenges. So I'd like us to discuss it, and of course outside of the media, so that we sit down and have a really good discussion that will lead to good outcomes.
So I got friends in South Africa. I've got a bunch of articles of people being killed, and that's basically all the evidence that I need. Oh, and there's a video of crosses across the, along the road. That's my evidence that a genocide is happening. Okay, that sounds legit. Sounds great.
Punitive measures that could be in place should you not be satisfied that South Africa is fixing some of the very bad things, inverted commas, that you tweeted are happening?
Well, there are a lot of bad things happening in many countries, but this in particular has been very, very bad, and because.
Oh yeah, this in particular, because what's happening in Gaza has not really been particularly bad. What's been happening in Ukraine? That's not been particularly. No. The deaths of white South African farmers. That's just particularly bad compared to all the Sri Lanka. That's whatever. Okay.
We're going to have the whole world watching in another short period of time because you have the G20 And that's a big
Jesus
deal.
Christ
And
Almighty.
it seems like, I mean, I want you to look good. I don't want you to look bad.
Very good.
But we have hundreds of people, thousands of people trying to come into our country because they feel they're going to be killed and their land is going to be confiscated. And you do have laws that were passed that gives you the right to confiscate land for no payment. You can take away land for no payment.
I want to clarify that because we have a constitution. Our constitution guarantees and protects the sanctity of tenure of land ownership. And that constitution protects all South Africans with regard to land ownership. However, we do say, because we've got to deal with the past, the government, and as your government also has the right to expropriate land for public use.
And you're doing that.
And we've never really gotten underway with that. And we are going to be doing so.
You're taking people's land away
we have not.
from them. And those people, in many cases, are being executed. Yeah. They're being executed.
We read a debunk to this.
And most of them happen to be farmers. And that's a tough situation. I don't know how you explain that. How do you explain that?
Many outlets have explained it. We read them.
And in many cases, those people are being executed. And in many cases, it's not the government that's doing it. It's people that kill them and then take their land, and nothing happens to them. But we have thousands of people that want to come.
So how is it a genocide?
Going to Australia.
How is it a genocide? We're doing the President of the United States doing white supremacy conspiracy, are we? Yes, we are, unfortunately.
But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country, and they're white farmers, and they feel that they're going to die in South Africa. And
yes, this is especially bad.
What can South Africa do? What concessions would you like to see them make to improve relations with the United States? Then I have one more for President Ramaphosa afterwards.
Stop Jadenists.
Well, we just spoke about, I got them a very, very complex machine, 150 of them. I was asked by the president if it could help, and I did that. And, I have great feeling for all countries. I deal with all countries.
I've noticed.
I have a great feeling for South Africa because I have friends. I have a couple of friends, a few friends here today. I have many friends from South Africa, but many of those friends are not, they can't go back. I have Elon is from South Africa. I don't want to get Elon involved. That's all I have to do, get him into another thing. But
oh my God,
happens to be from South Africa. This is what Elon wanted. He actually came here on a different subject.
Poor victim of genocide, Elon Musk.
He likes that better. He likes that subject better. But Elon is from South Africa, and I don't want to talk to him about that. I don't want to. I don't think it's fair to him. That's right. But I will say that
some of my best friends are South Africans. True, Contraband 100. Also, are you new to the stream? Are you, or have you been here before?
People are fleeing South Africa for their own safety. Their land is being confiscated, and in many cases, they're being killed.
So we've already read several debunks of this. I've been here before. Welcome. I hope to see you again. Okay, I hope to see you again. As I've said, I'm trying to grow beyond being a micro streamer to being a small streamer.
And that scene of, you see how many crosses they have. Those crosses, that's a dead person in every one of them.
Yeah, he called those crosses burial grounds, graves, which is not true. And also, it seems like the murders of white farmers are robberies, and it seems like it's only a fraction of murders in South Africa. So I guess that's genocide now.
And those trucks or cars are paying their respects to all of those dead people on a Sunday morning. That's a rough thing to explain away.
No, it's not. I just did it. I just explained it away. It took me like less than a minute, and I did it. Okay?
The problem we have, and the way, a correct and a fair media exposes things. But we have a very corrupt media.
I know, and they did expose Trump's misinformation.
That would be the biggest story. Now, I will say, apartheid, terrible. That was the biggest story. That was reported all the time. And this is sort of the opposite of apartheid. What's happening now is never reported. Nobody knows about it. All we know is we're being inundated with people, with white farmers from South Africa.
Oh my God. Really? Well, everybody reported when the apartheid was happening. That was, of course, bad. That was not good. But you know what? Like, the opposite is happening now and nobody talks about it. There's a genocide of white peoples. Come on. Can you be even more obvious? Can you be any more obvious about this crap? The news media will not talk about it. Well, as far as I've seen, basically all the outlets have been talking about this. All the outlets have been debunking Trump around the clock about these claims of white genocide. So congratulations, Donald Trump. You have made this topic reported on quite a lot. You have achieved it.
And it's a big problem. Marco Rubio was telling me he's never seen anything like it. The numbers of people that want to leave South Africa because they feel they're going to be dead very soon. Yes, please.
I was going to say,
Brian, go.
If I could just ask you a question. 72% of farmers in your country are white. If they flee, do you feel that maybe the economy could collapse? You may not have a gap to fill in those.
Okay, that's 72%. No, that's not true. Like, the stat was 72% of the land was owned by white people, but it does not follow that 72% of the farmers are white. That's just bogus. That sounds so wrong. Fact checked. 72% of South African farmers white. That just sounds incorrect on its face. Oh, Reuters. Trump makes false claims of genocide in South Africa. Also, I bet that by farmers they don't count the farmhands. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like that just sounds incorrect on its face, saying that 72% of farmers in South Africa are white. It's just what? White farmers will leave and take the farmland with them. True. Like owning and working the land are two different things. Exactly. That is what I mean. Like 72% of land is owned by white people, or was at least. But that doesn't follow that 72% of farmers in South Africa are white. That's just silly.
That we replace those farmers.
You know, I'd like my Minister of Agriculture, who is white, who comes from an opposition party to mine, who's joined my government at my invitation to address this very issue, including the question that you've just raised. John?
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Mr. President, thank you for welcoming us to the White House. I would say we have a rural safety. I don't think anyone wants to candy coat that. And it requires a lot of effort to get on top of it. It's going to require more policing resources. It's going to require a different strategy to be able to deal with it.
So what he is saying that people are being killed, there's a big problem of criminality in South Africa. Among victims, there are white people, but white people constitute a small fraction of overall victims of criminality in South Africa. And he just said that it needs to be handled and it needs more. It needs to be taken care of, but there's no genocide. There's no white genocide. As the same reporter that asked Zelensky about the suit. Well, that's brilliant. That's just great. What a reporter. The previous one, he's Marjorie Taylor Greene's husband. Seriously?
But certainly the majority of South Africa's commercial and smallholder farmers really do want to stay in South Africa and make it work. And I've just come from the largest agricultural show in the Southern Hemisphere with organized agriculture and farmers, and the majority of them want to stay. But they too there have a memorial to those who've died as a result of farm attacks. And as the Minister of Agriculture, it is something that I'm particularly exercised with my colleagues at police and my colleagues in the justice cluster to start making farm attacks and stock theft a priority crime. And it affects all farmers in South Africa, particularly stock theft. It has a disproportionate effect on smallholder black farmers. I also want to just say this.
There are types of attacks that disproportionately affect black farmers, but I guess this doesn't matter in the face of the rhetoric, in the face of the conspiracy theory that there is a white genocide happening.
Individuals that are in that video that you've seen are both leaders of opposition minority parties in South Africa. Mkhonto we Sizwe under Mr. Zuma and the economic freedom fighters under Mr. Malema.
So basically, Trump showcased a video of the South African equivalent of Grzegorz Braun and said, see how these people are acting, see how this government operates.
That my party, the Democratic Alliance, which has been an opposition party for over 30 years, chose to join hands with Mr. Ramaphosa's party, was precisely to keep those people out of power. We cannot have those people sitting in the union buildings making decisions. And that is why after 30 years of us exchanging barbs across the floor in Parliament and trying to get one over on each other, we've decided to join hands precisely to keep that lot out of government. Because the day they get in to the doors of the union buildings in South Africa or control of our Parliament, that's what you're going to see. And that is why this government, working together, needs the support of our allies around the world so that we can strengthen our hand, grow our economy, and shut the door forever on that rabble getting through the doors of the union buildings, because then South Africa's future.
So you denounced that type of language in the video that you saw?
Oh yes, we've always done so. As government, as my own party.
Of course, he used the white supremacy citation. Why am I even surprised?
In 1955, adopted a document which said South Africa belongs to all.
But why wouldn't you arrest that man? That man said, kill the white farmers, kill the white farmers. And then he danced, and he's dancing, and it's kill the white farmers. I'm not sure, but I think if somebody got up in Parliament and started saying, kill a certain group of people, he would be arrested very quickly.
I don't think so, actually.
That man is going all over South Africa, and that's not a small party. That was a stadium that holds 100,000 people, and I hardly saw an empty seat. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of representation. And those crosses...
Lucy, I don't think we're going to do Help Divers tonight. Why not? If we only have a few minutes of this video left, why not? Why, you cannot stay for Help Divers?
And you take a look at Australia. They're being inundated, and we're being inundated with people that want to get out. And their farm is valueless. It's valueless. And they just want to get out with their life. And this is a very
I love
serious
conspiracy
situation.
peddling. I love
And
it.
we had a real news or real press or media. We don't have that because they won't talk about this.
Yeah, the US does not have real media.
But if we had a real press, it would be exposed. And you know, the beauty of exposing it is it's like a cleansing action. When it gets exposed, it'll get fixed. That's when it'll get fixed. But people don't talk about it. And I'll tell you who's talking about the thousands
late,
of
Lucy.
people that are fleeing South Africa right now.
Maybe we'll just do it tomorrow. I've updated the game. We can always just do it tomorrow. But I'm gonna say this is really sad. This is really, really sad.
We discussed USAID and the devastating impact the cuts are having across the African continent.
You know, it's devastating, and hopefully a lot of people are going to start spending a lot of money. And I've talked to other nations. We want them to chip in and spend money too. And we've spent a lot, and it's a tremendous problem going on in many countries. A lot of problems going on. The United States always gets the request for money. Nobody else helps, as you know. Europe doesn't help. Europe hasn't given anything. All they do is sue our companies. You know, they sue Apple, and they sue all of our companies.
Europe just doesn't do anything.
$17 billion on a nonsense lawsuit. Very unfair. But
very unfair.
We're going to always be there to help.
Sherman Rice for South African Broadcasting. If this Afrikaner resettlement issue is resolved, you're going to go into a room after this, you guys are going to talk. If it is resolved, what is the potential for the future-looking relationship between the United States?
It's got to be resolved. It should be resolved. It's a little bit bad when you see a stadium with 100,000 people in it, because that means it's more than just a little movement. It's a pretty big movement in South Africa. So it has to be resolved. It'll be the end of the country if it's not.
But is there potential for the relationship moving forward?
I hope so. That's why I'm here.
Hello, what's up? Oh, what did you learn musically? What's up?
I'm not here for my health. I'm here to... No, I'd like to see. I have friends. I can tell
I
you
have friends.
Retief Goosen, they feel so strongly. They wanted to be here on behalf of South Africa. Not on behalf
I guess we can just do a weekend thing about Helldivers.
of me. Yes. And, you know, they said, can we be here for this? Because They love the country. Ernie, do you guys want to say a couple of words? I hate to put you in this. This is tougher than sinking a 3-footer.
Oh my God.
And they've sank many 3-footers.
Trump is the king of misinformation, conspiracy, peddling, and just lying.
We've known each other a long time. We have spoken.
I mean, you have a job. There's just no need to apologize for, having a life outside of this streaming thing. I am allowing you to have a life outside of Lucy Haze. In other words, never apologize for not being here. You're here 99% of the time, and I appreciate it.
We're proud South Africans. I still have my South African passport. We travel with this passport.
I literally, this guy is the king of conspiracy, lying, and misinformation. What a presidential term this is turning out to be. You appreciate it? You appreciate it? Of course, I appreciate you. I've been wondering where you were at the beginning of the stream. Of course. I appreciate all the viewers that come here. Because, every single person that is here, I appreciate. Especially since the number of people that watch me allow me to know my viewers a little bit more than usually people get to know viewers, which has its perks, it has its pluses. It means that the whole thing is less I don't know, it's less unjust. They're just anonymous people that watch me.
And I got my visa here. So, but we want to see things get better in our home country. And that's the bottom line. It's been 35 years since the transition. President Ramaphosa was right in the middle of the transition time, in 1990.
Transition.
And before that. So it's been 35 years of ANC government. And I know there's a lot of anger, through the transition. There was also a lot of stuff happening in the apartheid days. We grew up in the apartheid era.
Don't appreciate me, I don't consent. Consent is just a number. Okay, random free PO.
But I don't think two wrongs makes a right. President Mandela, when he came out of prison for all that time, didn't come out with hatred, and really unified our nation through sport. We won the Rugby World Cup in '95.
4 times.
We won the African Nations Cup, soccer.
My current number is 0. Also, if you appreciate what I do and you like me as a streamer, I'm your favorite streamer, then why not join the page and consider subscribing or donating, That's the way. This is the way. Also, maybe I will try to relearn the game on stream a little bit before.
We won some majors as golfers and so forth.
I hate it when people peddle conspiracy about imagined white genocide when there's actual genocide happening in Ukraine, when there's actual genocide happening in Gaza and other places where people just don't seem to care about it happening or just flat out deny it. And here we have this conspiracy. Have you thought of the poor white farmers in South Africa?
So what I'm trying to say is, this has been a long time coming.
Has
That's why
it?
We really wanted to meet you, meet the administration.
Has it been a long time coming?
Because we still want to see our country flourish. We've got some great things going on. Business is getting involved with government. Farmers are getting involved.
It wasn't just, if it just wasn't for this gosh darn white genocide.
Been decaying for a long time. So there's a lot of coexistence going on and help from a lot of areas. But I feel we need the US to push this thing through.
To push what thing through?
A great ally, if we can have the US. It's always been an ally of South Africa for a very long time, even in the days of the war, up in Angola. You guys helped us. So very important for us to have your support and get the change we need.
Boy, did you do that well.
What is the change that you're speaking about?
You might have done that even better than he plays golf, which is almost impossible. Johan, please.
Sorry, Mr. President, if you had to wine all of those places properly, you will see I'm the biggest target of that rabble rouser. Number 1 for over 10 years. Mr. Malema. In fact, the first time I met him, he was in the youth league with that gentleman, and look how he's changed. Right. We have too many deaths.
There's nothing harder than being a white boy in America or another colonialist country like South Africa or Australia. No one sticks up for the whites. They just cancel them just for being white. Cancel? You mean genocide, right? What do you mean cancel? We just use is it forbidden to use the word genocide now? You have to just say cancel?
But it's across the board. It's not only white farmers, it's across the board. And we need technological help. We need Starlink at every little police station.
There you go. This guy said it. It's a crime issue and it doesn't affect just white people. And we need better communications, which would involve Starlink as well, I guess. Genocide is a natural outcome of cancel culture. True. What about the white names, Lucy? Oh, they should be erased. You're right. But I don't see any white names today in chat, so that's good.
We need drones.
Drones?
We got drones donated for the peace parks to stop elephant and rhino poaching. And
elephant poaching, yeah. I hate elephant poaching more than anything. God, elephants are such beautiful creatures.
I mean, US basics, the ridicule. So if you can help us.
They're really intelligent and gentle animals.
I lived in New York in the 70s. We never thought New York could be what it became. 2 commissioners, a tough mayor. We need your help to stop this awful killing. But it's across the board. Ernie is right now building a house in George. I'm building 3 cottages for my grandchildren on a farm outside Grafton. I often go to bed without locking the door. And we have a serious problem with illegal aliens.
Wait, what? Hold on, what?
Locking the door. I often go to bed without locking the door.
I would never go to bed without having my door locked. I would not allow. That is wild. Like when I visited England in smaller like towns, I noticed that people just leave their apartment doors unlocked. And to me, that was always like, it blew my mind, okay? To me, it's like, not only do you need super, like, complicated lock, a sturdy door, but it's just unthinkable to me to leave your front door unlocked and just go to bed. Just saying.
Problem with illegal aliens who stream across the border. And if you really look at our statistics, a lot of these murders, firstly it's unemployment and illegal aliens. And then I met Vice President Bartz many years ago, the Charlie Rose show. My wife loved the book. And she reminded me this morning that you emphasized the devastation that occurs when big companies leave towns and cities.
In the suburbs, I'd be fine leaving my door unlocked, but here in my apartment, there's always weirdos in the hall screaming. I'm sure they aren't dangerous or anything, but still the door stays locked. Like, I just don't know. Even in the suburbs, I will just, it's an instinct at this point. I will always lock the door, no matter what. Even if it's just 1% chance, I will not take that chance, okay? It costs me nothing to lock the door. I live outside of the city in a countryside-ish kind of area. Like most of the time the area is empty, but I'm just gonna lock the door. Even though I have a big dog now in here. But now that I have the big dog, I'm just afraid that if anybody came in here, they would hurt my dog, you know? Like even if my dog messes them up, like even if Fido managed to, because German Shepherd's bite is actually pretty strong, even if you manage to bite and hurt the intruder, like the intruder might hurt Fido back, right? While being bit. And I don't really want to take that chance, you know? Fido is not the dangerous one. Fido seems more content on destroying your stuff though. Yeah, he destroyed my small pillow today and was really angry. True. We had really shitty door at my dad's house. And one time I woke up and wind had blown it open from a locked position. Who knows how long it had been like that, but nothing went wrong. I don't know. I mean, true, but There's just nothing goes wrong until something goes wrong, and it's just best to not take the risk, in my opinion. You know, everything's fine until it's not. You know, and I don't. It's just easy to lock the door.
And there's a culture of dependency that develops. I remember you discussing it.
You are watching live coverage in the Oval Office. President Trump meeting with the president of South Africa. Seated beside him here, Cyril Ramaphosa. I want to bring in our senior Washington correspondent, Hallie Jackson, who's been watching along with us. Hallie, another extraordinary meeting inside the Oval Office, talking about a difficult topic, accusations that the White House administration has made about genocide of white South African farmers. An accusation that obviously President Ramaphosa is pushing back against in this meeting today.
Yeah, it's not quite a Zelensky-level blow-up when, of course, President of Ukraine came in and there was that extraordinary moment in the Oval Office. But I'll tell you what, it is certainly an unexpected confrontation here.
Yeah.
And the South African delegation seemed taken aback, candidly, Aaron, just by the reaction in the room. We'll get more from inside the room. I'm sure you heard the voice of our colleague there acting as pool. But you heard some sort of awkward laughter and then silence, frankly, when...
I've befriended local homeless people. They act as my security defense. I have actually met a guy recently when I went on a walk with Fido, and we talked about Fido a bit. Like, he said that he knows that I live nearby. Fido was he complimented Fido. He said something about his mom having dogs, and I think that I asked about something related to Lucy making IRL friends now. You know. I asked him about something about does he not like to visit his mom, or does he have animals? And he was like, oh no, I'm homeless. You know? I was like, oh, well, why not just live with your mom? Like, why not just, and he said that he just, I guess, enjoys his independence more. He'd rather be homeless than live with his mom. I guess fair enough. He actually, there's some weird situation with this person. She won't need us for, yes, I won't need you for long because I've got the local homeless man who I've met when on a walk with Fido. You people's days are numbered up. You're right. You're all numbered up. The local homeless man will replace you all. All right, let's continue. I have Chihuahuas. They would do anything to an intruder but warm you, but they're very good at that. My Fido jumps into bed with me.
President
until
Trump
he gets bored.
and the Trump team there played this video. Again, the president has accused in recent months South Africa of genocide, and you have heard the South African president pushing back very strongly on this, pointing
But
to...
I really want to finish Half-Life as well, so we'll see. We're doing a gaming weekend.
The agriculture minister who is speaking there, pointing to a number of reasons why he says that is simply not true, and yet this confrontation here persists. You get the impression that perhaps President Trump wanted this to happen as it is playing out, wanted these potentially clearly uncomfortable moments here. There is a backdrop to this, of course, in that
because he pushes conspiracy, a white supremacy conspiracy, which doesn't even surprise me at this point that he would do so.
Trump's close confidant has been for months now Elon Musk, who's from South Africa, who's also been outspoken and vocal on this. And it comes as
you know, Elon Musk, the supporter of far-right neo-Nazi parties in Europe. What a shocker that he would push a white genocide conspiracy.
Administration has also, even as they have essentially shut down the U.S. to most refugees around the nation, have opened U.S. borders to white South Africans to come into the country here. So it is complicated geopolitically, but in the room, just some of these really stunning moments here between these two world leaders. What's interesting here, too, the schedule was a little bit different than we expected. So you have to wonder, how does this play out? Do they end up having the rest of their meetings as is expected throughout the course of the afternoon? Or does this short circuit here, Aaron, and what we're watching play out live right here?
We'll see.
President of South Africa.
Like, this meeting is just a few minutes longer.
That's what we need to resolve. And your support, your partnership with us is what is really going to give us a strong capability to move forward.
Excuse me, do you have anything to say? I mean, I don't want to leave you out.
Anything to say?
3 or 4 majors. 3 or 4.
No, only 2.
That's a lot. By the way, 2's a lot. Out of tournaments you won too. You have anything to say?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. President Ramaphosa. I grew up in an area in South Africa that is a farmland area, Polokwane. And there is some issues up there. Obviously, my dad was a property developer as well as a part-time farmer. And yeah, some of
I think that's it. I think we've reached the limit of this topic. Like, Trump is trying to push conspiracy theory regarding genocide, and let me see how this ends.
As I said to President Trump, the U.S. really originated the G20. And it's important that the United States continues to play a key role in the G20. And we are privileged to be the president of the G20. But we are even overjoyed that we are going to hand over to the United States, who are the originators. And for that reason, I expect the United States to continue playing the leadership role in the G20.
He did not expect to be assaulted with the whole genocide thing, did he?
I've said, initially spoke to President Trump on the phone, I want him to come to South Africa for a state visit, and I also want him to come and participate in the G20. And I want to gladly hand over
genocide
to President Trump to take the leadership of the G20 forward in November.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
What is it going to take to convince you?
They don't want to leave.
All right, so let's finish for now. Let's finish this for now.